we need to have a serious conversation about why you feel so miserable in your life. You should not be waking up in the morning dreading to start your day. You shouldn't be waking up just having this like existential doom about your life, just feeling like you hate everything in it. You shouldn't be going about your day feeling completely miserable like you hate your life. Like that is such a waste of life, of human life. And I want this video to be a bit of a reality check for you, to remind you of how amazing and incredible you are, to help you see why you feel so stuck in this miserable mindset so that you can get yourself out of this place. One of my favorite things to do is to help people get unstuck, and just to help them see how amazing and incredible they really are and how much of a powerful creator they really are. And I mean, this is you. You are a powerful creator. You are someone who's capable of building anything you want. You're capable of someone who's worthy and capable of having anything you want. So when we are these amazing, magnificent creatures who are literally the creators of our own life, why do we want to spend it being so miserable and unhappy and stressed out? Like, that's not how it's supposed to be. One of my favorite things that I especially do is really teaching people who are high achievers, people who are top performers, or people who are aspiring to be top performers, high achievers, and showing them that you don't have to be miserable while working towards your goals. You don't have to be miserable while trying to build the life of your dreams. And so many of us are. And I think that that is just so sad. Take a moment, even right now, to reflect and think about how much of your day do you spend being in a state of joy, calm, peace, ease, and happiness? And how much of your day do you actually spend being in this like stressed out, miserable state? Constantly worrying, constantly feeling anxiety, and never actually giving yourself a chance to just enjoy the beautiful, delicious moment of the present. So, there are specific things that you are actually doing in your life that's actually keeping you more stuck in this miserable state. And this is what I want you to wake up to. You need to wake up to the fact that you are the one who is responsible for keeping yourself in this miserable state. And what's beautiful about waking up to this fact and taking full responsibility of putting yourself in this state is to realize that you're also the one that can help yourself get out of this state. So take radical responsibility. Take radical responsibility and accept the fact right now that you are the one that got yourself into this like deep, negative, miserable state. You are. Unless someone is putting a gun to your head every single day and telling you you need to be in this miserable, negative state, you have no one to blame but yourself. So take that radical responsibility. I know it sucks. I know you already want to think about 10 other people you want to blame instead of yourself, but blame yourself. Take that responsibility. And let me take you through why you are stuck in this miserable state and why you feel so miserable waking up every single day. Number one big reason is you complain. You complain and notice all the awful things and shit that happens in your life, and that is all you focus on. Like, again, take a step back right now. Let's be honest, let's be real here. How much of the day do you actually spend being in a state of gratitude? And how much of the day do you spend noticing everything that's going wrong, complaining? Like, how much of your conversations are around complaining? Probably a lot. Most of our conversations are around complaining about things and how much things suck in our life and how there's gonna be a recession, the economy is worsening, all of this stuff, never gonna be able to buy a house, all of these things, right? How much of your day is spent noticing everything that is going wrong in your life? Probably a lot of it if you feel like you're in a miserable, negative state. So I struggled with chronic depression for about 5 years of my life when I was in my early 20s. And all I ever did was spend all my time in this miserable state, always noticing everything that was wrong in my life, constantly blaming other people and my circumstances, wishing that things were different, complaining about how things were not different, wishing I had a different cultural background, or just it's all these just like silly things that when I look back at, I'm like, I can clearly see why I was stuck in this depressive state, because all I ever did was just complain and notice everything that was going wrong in my life. And the more that you do that, the more of that just grows in your life. The more of that you pull into your life. And I truly think it is one of the worst places to ever be. Now, by no means am I saying, let's not be toxically positive. You obviously have to feel the emotions and the hurt and whatnot. But it's about when you let yourself and choose to stay in this state longer than you need to. Like, nothing beautiful is ever created from a place of misery, from a place of despair, from a place of negativity. Nothing beautiful ever flourishes and is created from that place. So really take a step back and start becoming aware of how much you are complaining and just noticing the negativity in your life. And I really want to tell you that it is never too late ever to change this mindset. One of my girlfriends this weekend, she went on a trip with her mother over the weekend, and she's really started to notice that her mom was just, constantly complaining about things. And she was talking to me and having this conversation with me afterwards, and she was telling me how she was teaching her mom this stuff and telling her that she doesn't need to complain anymore. She doesn't need to just constantly notice the negativity. And this is a mindset that she really needs to change. And it was so cool to just hear, even just in the matter of like the couple of days that they spent together, by the end of it, her mom was starting to change her thinking and starting to see how much time she actually spent in the state of complaining and negativity. And again, just goes to show you, it's never too late to start making these changes. It's the awareness that you need to have first. And it's that awareness, and then to realize that this is just not a great place for you to be in. Think about those friends and people in your life that when you're around them, all they do is complain. All they do is complain. I used to have a couple of friends like that, and this one friend in specific, and honestly, I am not friends with her anymore because it was just so draining to be in her energy. I'm just thinking about it, like I'm just getting drained thinking about it right now. And just being in her space, like whenever I was around her, she would complain about her body and talk about how she's not healthy and she's trying so hard and she can't lose this weight, but she binge eats like cake and all this stuff. And then she would complain about her relationships. She would complain about her job and how hard her job was. She was a nurse, worked at a hospital, and just all these like stories of all these patients being so hard. And like, oh man, like every time I would hang out with her, I would just leave our hangouts feeling so drained, so exhausted, and like I just did not want to be around her at all. And honestly, I'm not around her now for this exact reason, because she's so draining. So imagine now, like, not imagine, like this is you right now, right? You are this person who is draining, who just constantly complains, who just notices all the bad things happening in their life. And you're with yourself all day long. And if this is a self-talk that's happening, like, no wonder you feel so miserable. No wonder you feel extremely unhappy. And so you need to wake up to this type of thinking, this type of being. And you need to stop giving those thoughts more fuel and more fire. And you need to stop instigating those thoughts and keep going down that rabbit hole. You need to halt and put those thoughts and stop those thoughts. That's what you need to do. So wake up to this. Wake up to the complaining, all the negative things that you're noticing in your life, and know that you have the choice to focus on something different. If you want a strong brain, if you want a better life, it starts by you noticing and seeing all the good, amazing things that you already have in your life. Like, if you're able to watch this YouTube video, you have a device that you're able to do this on. Like, feel grateful for that. Feel grateful for the fact that you have access to all of this knowledge right at your fingertips. Like, really start to pay attention to the good. And when you notice yourself complaining, stop those thoughts. Stop the complaining, okay? Like, stop it. Stop it when you notice it coming up, because really it's not doing you any good. And especially if you're around other people, like, good luck trying to actually have really strong, healthy friendships and relationships if all you do is complain all day long. So this is the first step, okay? First reason as to why you're really miserable is you're just complaining and noticing all the crap in your life. Number two is because you are being a lazy reactor instead of trying to show up with intention and actually trying to be a conscious creator of your life. So a couple of months ago, I was really, really stuck in this negative rut. There was a whole bunch of things happening in my own personal life that were just taking up a lot of my energy. I made some big moves, like actually moving into a new city, and just all of these changes were happening in my life. And I stopped actually showing up in my life with intention. And because so much was happening so fast, and so many heavy, big feelings were coming along with it, I ended up being this just like lazy reactor. This person who just, whatever came up in life, I would just react to it. Instead of actually asking myself, how do I want to show up? What is the intention I want to set for the day? How do I want to actually react and move through this difficult period and time in my life? And when I became this like lazy reactor for a little bit, I felt like I lost all control of life. I felt helpless and powerless. I started to feel miserable. I didn't want to get out of bed, or when I got out of bed, I just felt this like dooming feeling just looming over me, as if, my life is about to crumble and fall. And I just let go of all control of my life. And I want you to reflect and see, is that you? Are you just being this like lazy reactor to everything that comes up, just complaining to everything that comes up, right? The first and second one are definitely tied together. And ask yourself, are you showing up with any intention to your day? So when you wake up in the morning, what do you wake up with? When you go to work, what is the energy that you are going into work with? When you hang out with friends, when you end your workday, when you enter your personal life, what's happening to a lot of us is that we're just going from one thing to the next thing, to the next thing, to the next thing. And we're not thinking about and taking the time to actually ask ourselves, what do we want to show up with? How do we want to show up in this next phase or activity or thing that we are really moving into? And this is by far one of the best things that you can start doing. Stop just being someone who's lazy and reacting to everything in your life, and choose to become conscious and choose to start to show up with intention. So when I wake up in the morning, I literally tell myself this is going to be the best day. I tell myself that. That's the intention I show up with. And I do that, yes, every single morning. So it's like every day is the best day ever. So I wake up and tell myself that, because that is the intention I'm setting for the day. I'm setting the intention that this is going to be the best day ever. Before I see my patients, I go in with the intention that they're going to get a lot of value from my calls. I'm going to show up with a lot of energy. I'm going to show up being kind and caring. And I set this intention before I have my calls with my patients. Before I go hang out with my friends, I set the intention of having fun and being playful and connecting with my community. This is the intention that I set. When you start to set intentions in your life and ask yourself, how do I actually want to show up? What do I actually want to expect? Can I show up with the expectation of having the best? It just changes everything, because you just stop being in this passive place of reacting, and instead you choose to show up with intention, with action, and you become this powerful creator of your life. This is such a quick and easy way to get out of a miserable state, by just starting to expect the best. Now, the third thing here that's really important to note as to why you are also miserable, and honestly, I notice this with my clients all the time, and I have to teach them about this, is really learning how to regulate your nervous system. And this honestly goes hand in hand with the last technique strategy that I talked about to that piece about not being a lazy reactor is when it comes to showing up in life with more intention, what you really want to make sure is that you're not just jumping from activity to activity without actually giving your nervous system time to unwind, to relax, to release, and let go of the tension from the last few activities that you've actually done. So, this nervous system regulation piece becomes so important because, again, when we're just jumping from activity to activity, just moving through our to do list without any sort of awareness or conscientiousness in it, by the end of the day, we end up feeling miserable. We end up feeling miserable. We feel like we weren't present because you probably weren't present at all. And when we're not present and we're just all in our head, we don't end up feeling so good. Like, we seriously don't. And so, learning how to regulate your nervous system, and this can be as simple as just taking a few deep breaths as you transition from different activities throughout the day, is so helpful. And Brendon Burchard, he's the world's like top performance coach. He actually has this meditation and activity he talks about where before you go, so for example, say I'm about to go from eating breakfast to starting to see my patients. Something I could do is take a couple of deep breaths, right? Kind of release the tension, any stress that came up from my morning, set an intention for how I want to move forward when I see my patients, and then move forward with that. And I've truly found this to be one of the most profound and just transformative exercises to do because some of us have morning routines, right? Like, you can have a morning routine where you like kind of take care of yourself in the morning, but then during the day all that just gets lost. You get lost in the chaoticness of life. So how do you prevent yourself from getting lost in the chaoticness of life? You prevent yourself from doing that by regulating your nervous system throughout the day, unwinding, releasing that tension, right? So taking a few deep breaths throughout your day so that you don't feel like this big miserable ball of stress. I actually had this conversation with one of my clients last night, and so she is a busy mom. She also works during the day, and what she really finds is that, she can be this patient, amazing person at work, but then at home, it's like her personality just changes, right? She finds herself being more irritable with her family. She's not able to be as patient with them. And so, something I had to teach her and talk to her about is like, when you end your workday, before you move into and transition into your personal life, you need to have some sort of ritual that you do so that you can release the tension from the workday so that you're not bringing any of that stress into your family. And you want to think about what is the intention that you want to set, that you want to show up to your family with, right? So it's kind of like, and asking yourself, like, what is the type of mother, wife that I want to show up as today? And so I'm having her kind of do like go on a walk essentially after her work is done, and then she is going to set the intention, take a couple deep breaths, and then go into her home and see her family after that. So such a simple activity and exercise, but it helps you feel less miserable in life. Because again, it just makes you feel like you have more control and power. It forces you to connect with the present moment and see your life for what it actually is, instead of, again, just being this lazy reactor and just jumping from thing to thing to thing. And then the last reason as to why you're feeling miserable is honestly because you're just not taking care of yourself well enough. Like, straight up. This means you're not feeding your body the right foods, you're not moving your body enough, you're not getting the right amount of sleep. And this is probably because you are the last person on your list and you don't see yourself as valuable enough to take care of first. And it is so important that you start seeing yourself as someone who is important and that you start filling your own cup first. Because you can do all the mindset strategies and try to think positively, but if your body just doesn't support positive thinking, like, good freaking luck ever feeling good. You're always going to feel miserable. If you lack specific nutrients your brain needs, you're going to feel miserable. If you have chronic inflammation in your body, you're going to feel miserable. If your gut is not functioning well, you are going to feel miserable. So all of these things also play a role in how you feel. And so it is so important that you also take care of yourself. And the more that you take care of you and start treating yourself as a valuable, important person, the less miserable you will feel in life. Life is not meant to be lived in this like miserable way. We're not meant to wake up and feel sad and so stressed out. Like, we need to stop thinking that the only way to live a big, beautiful, bold life is to feel extremely stressed out. People who are like true top performers are happier and healthier than their peers. And you need to understand that if you want to build a big, beautiful, bold life for yourself, having joy, feeling happy is a part of all of that. You don't have to just choose one or the other. So, if you want to continue being miserable, by all means, like, go ahead. No one's stopping you, right? You can choose to stay in this negative thinking. You can choose to continue to notice all the bad and awful things are happening in your life. You can choose to continue to blame your childhood, your parents, your family, whatever else it is that you want in your life. Like, by all means, do that. Continue to stay in this miserable state, and you'll continue to live a miserable life. But my question for you is that why would you want that? Why would you want that when you can wake up every single day and choose to see the world in a whole new way? When all it takes is changing your perspective and taking care of yourself more is all it takes to start showing up in life in such a powerful way and to actually feel happy and good as you do it. I know that all of this might seem like it sounds hard, right? I hear that all the time, like, oh, it sounds so hard. Yeah, well, you know what else is hard? What else is hard is also staying in your misery and the negativity. So choose your hard. Do you want the hard of waking up every day and changing your perspective, or do you want the hard of staying in your miserable state of mind? You choose your hard. I'm happy out here living my delusional positive AF life. Okay? So I'm happy out here, but I want to share this message to you because you also deserve to be in that place. And it's all up to you to be in that place if you choose to be in this place. So it's a choice, it's an active choice. And I have to wake up every single day and do this. Every single day, I have to wake up and remind myself of the good and remind myself of all the amazing things happening in my life. And if I'm not careful enough, I can go back into that state where I'm starting to notice the negative. But again, I would rather have the heart of waking up every day and every single moment choosing to see the good than have moments where I stay stuck in that negative and miserable mindset. So the choice is yours, and I hope you choose wisely. If you are, really interested in wanting to work on your brain health, you want to address your limiting beliefs, you finally want to get unstuck and learn how to build a big, beautiful life of your dreams by supporting your brain, use the link in my bio to book a free 30-minute discovery call with me, and we can chat about what support for you looks like.